your splitter looks like this, you probably want to get one that looks a little more like this. Stay tuned because we're going to throw this bad boy on the Golf R. Hey everybody, Jake at P3 back with another Golf R installment. In today's episode, we are going to put this awesome splitter on from CJM Industries. This is pretty special because it's a prototype setup. We've actually got a Mark 7 blade that's going to mount under the bumper, but then all the bracketry and everything is prototype for the Mark 6 platform, so the GTIs and the Golf Rs. He hasn't done one yet, and we're kind of his test mule, but unfortunately, we've got some missing pieces and some broken pieces, but I think we'll be able to help him clearance under the radiator, around the AC lines, different things like that. So once we're about halfway through that, we'll give him a call, get all that figured out. And then we've got this awesome clutch setup from ECS Tuning. We've got their lightweight performance flywheel. We've got their stage 2 street clutch, I believe they call it. It's good for around 450 foot-pounds. We've also got a shifter rehab kit, so we've got new linkage, new bracketry, all the hardware we need, new bushings, even got a new slave cylinder and bleeder valve set up, fluid, everything we need to get your clutch and shifter back to better than stock. Unfortunately, our show that we have coming up here in exactly 1 week is down in Florida, and our clutch is in pretty good shape right now, decent. So I don't know that I'm gonna get into the clutch this week because I don't wanna get into a situation where I can't get the car down there if I run out of time. A week is a long time to put a clutch in, but when you're running a business and trying to get a whole bunch of other things done, I might not be able to do it. So anyways, we're going to try to get the shifter linkage and bushings all installed so we can have a nice tight shifter, and then the clutch will probably get done as soon as we get back. But we are very pumped to have them on board on this car. They've helped us out a lot with this car. We've got the valved exhaust, which has been awesome. We've really enjoyed that. It makes a lot of noise. It sounds pretty good. And you can quiet it down when you want. Turn that valve off. It makes it nice and quiet. So first things first, we're gonna get this bumper yanked off, get all the broken pieces off the bottom, get this chassis mount splitter mounted up, and go from there. All right, I am standing here with a box that's already been opened because our mic failed on the last cut, but UPS Ed just dropped off a very exciting package from CJM Industries. And this is one, we've only been waiting a few days. We just talked to Chris over there the other day, and he is gonna work with us on our Golf R to spice it up just a little bit, or a lot, for FixxFest. And it is a huge splitter. And this is gonna be amazing because he actually does not make a Golf R, or Mark 6 Golf R splitter yet. And this is a prototype. So this blade is actually shaped for a Mark 7, but then the parts in this box are the actual hardware for this. And this is where we're gonna hopefully be able to give him a little bit of insight on fitment because he hasn't made one of these yet. But the nice thing about this is it's a chassis mount splitter. And if you haven't seen our Golf R, the front bumper is kinda, somebody ripped it off. I don't know how that happened.
The whole front bumper's gone, no joke.
But anyways, it's a little weak. So this is going to be a mount that goes in between the front bumper, the actual steel bumper, and the frame rails. It sandwiches in the middle. You have a nice, rigid, strong chassis mount. And he's actually got video of himself standing on the splitter without it breaking off. So, and it looks very rigid, very strong. We definitely need some rigidity up there. So this is great. Dude, the guy sent us airheads. I haven't had airheads for probably like 10 years, I think. I don't know if I like them or not. We'll find out. But lots of stickers. He sent us a little care package in there. That's awesome. And all this stuff is wrapped up, but it's just beautiful aluminum that's going to be fully adjustable. You can adjust your height and your width and mount that in between the frame rails there. And we're gonna get this thing on the Golf R, and it's gonna be sweet. Now, I'm genuinely excited about this because it's really functional, and it's also gonna look great. So thanks, Chris, over at CJM Industries. Let's get this thing mounted up. Cool stuff. CJM Industries, cool stuff. We've got our 2 brackets here for holding up the chassis mount splitter. You got driver side, it's a D, and you got passenger side, P. Pretty cool stuff. I really like that because it's really hard to screw up. But we're gonna yank this bumper off, And then basically, since it's a chassis mount splitter, we're going to take the mounts, mount them directly to each side of the bottom of the bumper. Then there's bracketry that goes across the bottom, and then basically bolt your blade up right to the bottom. There's some height adjustment, and then you can set that to set right under your bumper cover. It'll be golden. So right now we are just mocking this up because we have to actually drill holes into the bottom of our factory bumper here. So I'm just getting everything kind of loosely hand tightened together so we know where everything goes, since I'm unfamiliar with this kit. And then we should have a good idea of where our holes are going to go. We'll mark those out, drill them, get this mounted up. It honestly isn't going to be too long of an install. I'm pretty excited. We've got our bracket sitting on here, and we're going to drill 2 holes right here, 1 on each, or 2 on each side. And then we've got through bolts that will come in, and we're literally going to bolt this whole rigid frame assembly to the bumper, your steel crash bar. It all gets flipped over, bolted back on the car, and now you've got this super solid platform to mount that whole blade to. Then what's awesome is you get these sweet turnbuckles. Look how beefy these are. Those are going to be sweet. So then those guys are going to come off right here, and again, we're upside down. And then they come up, mount to the outer part of your blade, all within the factory bumper. So once this is installed, it's going to be like sitting like right here. On our car, since our bumper's destroyed, you're going to be able to see this through there, which is going to be pretty cool. But he's got video on his Instagram. We'll have to show you guys. And he's literally just like bouncing on the splitter. He's bouncing on it. And you think about a bumper mount splitter, you're not doing that. But with this one, you are. So we'll see how this turns out. Oh yeah. Look at that. That's pretty beefy. So this is right side up, just like it'd be on the car. All right, I'm just gonna test fit this thing and see how close we are, which it looks like we honestly have tons of room. There goes what little rigidity we had left. Ooh, all right, we do need to do some trimming, probably. Good thing there's tons of adjustment in this thing, so we're gonna take the bumper cover back off, bumper up a few notches. This is looking sweet. This is the first time we've seen it halfway mocked up, but I have it laid out. This is the 60-inch splitter, or I'm sorry, the 60mm splitter, which means it is going to stick out about 60mm. I think I actually have it a little too far back right now. I should probably be, I don't even know. And again, this is a Mark 7 blade, so if you come over here, kind of look down this edge, you can see that it's not the exact shape. It's still gonna look sweet though, because this is actually a Mark 7 blade to match a Mark 7 front bumper cover, and then obviously ours is all mangled. But this is actually gonna kind of give some rigidity to the whole front end, hold this saggy old poor zip-tied drift stitch bumper together, and then we're gonna get this thing looking fresh. I am pumped. So let's get this thing final bolted up, get everything tightened, give Chris a call, make sure he likes everything, and then we will be set. Just got off the phone with Chris from CJM. He was cracking up at our lack of parts on the front end of this car. Got everything figured out that he wants to do, but everything's mocked up. Everything should be at the correct height. I'm gonna buzz through all these bolts, tighten everything down, get that blade bolted up, and see what she looks like. Super cool feature on this kit is that this turnbuckle is extremely functional. So you can fine tune the ends of your splitter based on the curve of your bumper and where you want that. So not only are you offering a ton of huge support, like I'm moving the whole car, the splitter is solid, but we can set that height exactly where we want. Another super cool feature on this kit. Oh yeah, now we have a nice shelf to set this on as we assemble everything. Look at that, don't even have to hold it up anymore. She's never known this fitment before. Some idiot forgot to put the foam underneath. And if you know me, for those who do know me, I like to bump draft people. And we're gonna have to watch out for the splitter now, but I don't wanna scratch this really clean, beautiful bumper. Don't worry about that part. Now, we're gonna get this foam back under here so we can do some pushing with this thing if we need to. Just take a second. What an idiot. You can fix it in like 30 seconds when your car's wrecked. Okay. All right, we're gonna test this thing out. push our dumpster with it. Oh, dude. Oh, yeah. Dude, what a champ. CJM Industries. Yeah, you mean give her a little more? Push her out into the grass? We're going to have to slide it back when we're done. Dude, that's what I'm talking about. We got ourselves a bulldozer. The bulldozer. Super impressed with this splitter from CJM Industries. Chris, thank you so much for helping us out with that. I hope we were able to help you with some clearance stuff, but this thing is sweet, and it really kind of helps finish the edges along the Golf R, where it's all kind of torn up, but now it looks kind of clean again, you know, in the beat up sort of way. I don't know how you describe that, but really impressed with this. It's going to be really strong, and it's about 2 feet deep, so it's actually going to protect up under our radiator. Everything is covered from underneath now, so we got a nice thick skid plate. It's going to be good to go, and we're off to the next item. Since we're so close to the show, I was really hoping we could put the clutch off until after. Today is Saturday, and we are leaving Thursday morning to go to Florida, so I don't want to get into a situation where we can't get the clutch down, we can't take this car. But we are doing a track day there, and we're going to be putting this up against Colin's perfect Golf R. And I haven't driven this in about a month, and the disengagement on this clutch is really taking a big downhill, almost like the slave cylinder needs bled. But check this out. We can't compete with shifting like this. I'm trying not to push through the synchros, but when you're under big RPM changes and big load, that's about as fast as you can shift, which is horrible. And we don't want to break this transmission. We don't want to tear it up. So I think we're gonna have to do the clutch. The plan is to get in super early Monday morning, yank this all apart, and get the whole thing done Monday. So we'll see how that goes. And that brings us to here. It is bright and early on this very chilly Monday morning. In fact, this weekend was the first time the Golf R has seen snow since we've owned it. And when I got to the shop this morning, it was pretty chilly. We've never even turned our heat on this year. So I've got my coffee, we got the car on the lift, ready to go. Let's get this clutch out. Okay, I'm hustling because we gotta have this car done in less than 3 days now. Gotta drive to Florida Thursday, and if I run into any issues, I really don't have a lot of free time. We're at 7:25. The clutch is out. Well, sorry, the transmission's out. It does look like it's the OEM. Well, it's an OEM. It's got Volkswagen part numbers on it, so. I don't know if this has been replaced before. We're at 155, a little over 155,000 miles, so I'm not sure. But this thing is definitely slipping. So let's get this unbolted. Oh yeah, just a touch of heat spots there. Just a touch, you can see that a little bit. That's good. I think this, yeah, dual mass, so it's not locked up. I can get to my bolts in there. 155,000 miles in this bad boy. You can't blame it for starting to slip. Heavy. My luck, it'll hit my nose, mess my sinuses up again. Oh yeah, there she is. That's a heavy sucker. This is my first time doing a Golf R clutch. Everything came apart pretty easy, so hopefully it goes back together the same way. Before we throw this new clutch in, I do want to compare the OEM and aftermarket clutch and flywheels. OEM is going to be your big, fat, heavy, dual mass flywheel. I think they eventually can get locked up. This one's actually still pretty free, but the dual mass is going to give you a little bit smoother clutch engagement, probably just a better drivability overall, but you don't care about that with performance. So we're going with a single mass Stage 2 lightweight flywheel and performance clutch kit from ECS Tuning. Now this kit is good up to 400 foot-pounds, and you're going to save about 10 pounds with this setup versus OEM. So you do get quicker revs, all that great snappy throttle race car stuff, and you don't have to worry about the dual mass anymore. So you got this nice, pretty single mass flywheel. And I also wanted to compare the clutch itself just looking at the comparison between the two, you got these tiny little springs in this one, and you got some nice big heavy duty parts in this one. So I think this is going to do us really well. And being the cheap R, we had to go with a bargain. So you know we hit our friends up at ECS Tuning. They set us up with this clutch. We are pumped to get it in. Let's go throw it back in the car. The other nice thing about this kit is that it does come with every single bit of hardware you need. So all these torque to yield bolts that they want you to replace come labeled nicely and packaged so you can find them. We're going to figure out which way this flywheel goes on. 2 of these bolt holes are spaced out further or actually closer together than the other 4, so sometimes that can be kind of fun to get lined up. But we'll get this thrown on and torque it down. Got a mark. Now I can just run the gun on. These need to be tightened another 90 degrees past the torque spec. Now we're ready for our clutch pressure plate assembly to come on, and then we do have an alignment tool for that as well, provided by ECS. So this kit really is everything you need to get it all put together. We'll give this a final wipe down, make sure all the grease is off, throw that back on. Another great thing about working with ECS is that if you're unsure about torque specs, you can go to their product page, click the installation, and they actually list all your torque specs. So if you're unsure about anything on this, like I already had a torque spec for the flywheel, but I was unsure about the pressure plate, jump right on their product page. I can get my torque spec and keep moving on. Very nice. We've got our handy dandy clutch alignment tool. So we're gonna slide that through the clutch, put that into the flywheel. We get our pressure plate installed. There we go. Looks pretty centered up. I'm gonna start one of these just to make sure it doesn't fall on my head. We're nearing our torque spec. I can just feel it, so click. Clutch tool slides in and out freely, which means we're aligned well, so that's good. That means the input shaft of the transmission should slide right in. And now we should be good to put the transmission back in. I'm gonna double check a few things since this is my first time. I wanna make sure I don't screw anything up. We'll get her back in. One last thing before we throw this transmission in, and that is ECS also includes a new slave cylinder throwout bearing with this kit. So we will go ahead and prime this and throw it in before we put the transmission in. One step you can do to make your life a little easier when you're bleeding your clutch is to bench bleed your slave cylinder. So if you get a clean container, pour some brake fluid in. Brake fluid also supplied in the ECS kit, very nice, don't have to worry about that. And what we're gonna do here is turn the slave cylinder upside down, take the cap off, and we're gonna submerge that in the brake fluid. And then just go ahead and pump it a few times. And you're gonna see a bunch of air bubbles come out, and you'll watch your brake fluid go down, and eventually you're not gonna get any more air bubbles. And that's because the slave cylinder has ingested or inhaled a bunch of brake fluid, and this just helps cut down on your bleed time. Might be a bad idea, but let's see if I'm man enough to press this transmission back in. Yeah, she's heavy. The real question is this stool man enough to hold me and the transmission? Man, I don't know if I can do it. I really want to though. Attempt number 2. Oh yeah. The key is not to drop it on your face. Probably should have had the floor jack within reach. That would have been a good idea. Nothing's in reach. This is a mistake, maybe. Hopefully Matt shows up soon. That would be nice. Cut back to when I said this was just gonna slide right on. The input shaft of the transmission should slide right in. Oh, she's not going, guys. Maybe this wasn't a good idea. Bad idea. Probably a bad idea. Oh gosh. Maybe that wasn't a great idea, especially on my first time. Oh. Woo! I need a drink of water. All right, everything's buttoned up, well, almost everything. I still have to throw the splitter and the bumper back on. I'll take about 10 minutes, but here we are, 12:09. I had a heck of a time getting the clutch bled, but I ended up reading the instructions and running a standpipe up to get all the air out. Good to go on that. Let's start her up and see if it works. Okay, that's neutral clutch pressed in. It's in first. There's forward gear. And reverse, nice. And holding the clutch in gear. No movement. Think we're in good shape. I'm gonna go ahead and get the bumper and splitter bolted back on, and then we'll take this little beast for a test drive. We are out on a filthy test drive. I am absolutely covered in crap. And instantly I can just feel that the shifter throw is like half the distance it used to be. And I'm actually only on the second setting, the second shortest setting. I could even go shorter than this. I didn't want to go all the way yet. I figured I'd get used to this and see how I like it, since it would be such a big change. Definitely feels great though. Clutch engagement is good. Let's get a little launch action. Oh yeah, that's great. Oh, might have dumped my tools getting a little on it, but this thing is awesome. Very glad we knocked this out before we're taking it down to Florida. Great, great mod if you're looking to upgrade your clutch on a budget. This one is around half the cost of other competitive stage 2 clutches. And you're good up to 400 foot-pounds of torque. I believe I said 450 earlier. But this is just a great upgrade to this car. We've been needing to do this for a long time. I think we've had this clutch for like 4 months now, and I'm just now getting around to put it in. So thank you, ECS. We are super pumped to have you on board on yet another mod on the Cheap R. Let's get this thing down to Florida. That's all we got time for on this. We've got to get down to Florida for FixxFest. We've had a blast with this car. This car continues to amaze me. I have so much fun with it. We get to do all these fun mods, and people are excited about working with us on it. So thanks again to CJM Industries. Thanks to ECS Tuning for hooking us up with that clutch and shift kit. We are about to be headed down to Florida. We'll see you there.